Translation into Arabic. Learn the basics of translation into Arabic for non-Arabic speakers. For any inquiries, contact me, Ahmed Abdulrazik Mohammed at gmail.com. The first thing I'd like to start with is adjectives, as-sifat. Now let's read this example. The bright white of the wall dazzled his eyes. So look at this. Here we have the noun white and we have the adjective bright preceding the noun or modifying it, because this is usually the case in English, but in Arabic the adjective follows the noun. So here we need first to understand the meaning of these words. Bright means nasi', lama'. White means bayad, it's a noun. Dazzle means yubhir. But here's the thing, we have for bright we have nasi' and lama'. But nasi' best collocates with white in Arabic. Usually we describe something which is very white as nasi' bayad. So it's better to use this adjective because it collocates best with white. So this is usually the case. When you translate into Arabic, we start with the verb. Here we have the verb dazzle. As we said before, dazzle means yubhir. This is the present form of the word, of the verb, I'm sorry. But here we have past, so we need to use bahara, which is the past form of the verb yubhir. Bahara, bayadu, al-ha'it, an-nasi'. This is bright. Aynayhi, his eyes, his eyes. This is very simple. Once you know the rule that the adjective follows the noun in Arabic, you're going to be able to translate very well. Then we move to another problem with adjectives. The comparatives. In English, when we compare two things, usually we add er to the adjective. So the adjective plus er, brighter. Here, it is the same sentence. The only difference here is that we have comparative. How are we going to deal with this problem in Arabic? We need first to understand the sentence. The brighter white color of the wall dazzled his eyes. So the color here, or the white color here, is brighter. So we need to think of a way to say this in good Arabic. So we're going to start like this. Bahara, bayad, al-ha'it, and we're going to substitute er here with this word al-aksar, which means more in English. Nusu'an, aynayhi. This kind of sentence is acceptable for the Arabs because for many reasons bayad, as we said before, collocates with nusu'an, and this is a good word. So here the translation is wonderful. Another example with the problems we have with these adjectives in English when we translate into Arabic is this example. His limited education prevented him from understanding the situation. We need first to understand the meaning of some words here in this example. For example, we have prevent from, which means yamna min. Education, which means ta'lim. Understand means yafham. Situation means mawqif. Limited means mahdud. So the first thing we do here is that we look for the verb. It is prevented, which means yamna. But here we have the sentence in the past tense, so we use منع, and we use the ha. It's a pronoun for him. منعه تعليمه, which is education, and his. This ha stands for or refers to the pronoun, the possessive adjective his. تعليمه. Limited means محدود. المحدود. منعه تعليمه المحدود. من فهم. من from. Understanding, which is فهم. The situation الموقف. So this sentence so far is very simple, and we can handle it and translate it well. Now we move to a more complicated structure. Look at this example. We have a comparative here. His more limited education prevented him from understanding the situation. So we know limited is محدود, but if we want to translate it like the previous sentence, the style and will look weird for the Arabs. So we have got to do something here. We have to look for other alternative or options, considerable options, to make this language understandable and doesn't sound strange for the Arabs, for example. So here we have something called da'il, which means very little. Very little. Da'il means very little. So look at this example. منعه تعليمه البالغ, which is like extremely. البالغ means like extremely. الضآلة, this is a noun. So da'il is an adjective. So what we used here is noun instead of the adjective, and we say البالغ الضآلة. البالغ الضآلة. From understanding, which فهم, the situation. From understanding the situation. Tenses. Tenses translation. ترجمة الأزمنة. Present continuous. In Arabic, we don't have tenses to represent the present continuous. But what we can do here is sometimes we use a present form of the verb, and sometimes we can use an adjective. Look at this example. Look, she's crying. انظر إنها تبكي. So here we use the present form of the verb. Cry means يبكي, but because it's a girl, we say تبكي. Ahmed is sleeping now. Sleeping is a verb. Sleep means ينام. So we say أحمد نائم الآن. نائم is an adjective. It's not a verb because the verb is ينام. Present simple. Metals expand on heating. We need first to understand these words in the sentence. Metals, which mean المعادن. Expand, it's a verb, means يتمدد. Brave is an adjective, means شجاع. Heat means يسخن. I mean to make something hot. Look at the example. Metals expand on heating. So we start as a verb with the verb as usual. تتمدد المعادن بالحرارة. But here we did something, and we need to understand what we did in this example, because as we said before, heat is a verb. which means يسخن. But حرارة is a noun which means temperature. So, to make the translation more understandable for the Arabs, we substituted the verb with the noun. Instead of saying the verb heat, which means يسخن, we said حرارة, which means temperature. So, تتمدد المعادن بالحرارة. Let's now move to the second example. Men are brave. Here we have verb to be. We know that an Arabic sentence doesn't have to contain a verb. So here, when verb to be is followed by an adjective, we can just drop it from the translation. We say الرجال شجعان, because brave means شجاع. Now let's practice these new words. Minerals, المعادن. Expand, يتمدد. Brave, شجاع. Heat, يسخن. Thanks. Please hit like.